Hello, everyone. How are you all doing today? This is Mr. Atkins, and it is a pleasure to be meeting you guys. Today, I would like to welcome you to Baldwin's 2020 Open House. And the way I would like to do that is by sharing this PowerPoint presentation with you. So let me ensure that I'm sharing my screen. Let's see. I would like for you guys to check out this PowerPoint. Mm-hmm. Sorry about that, guys. We had a slight little technical difficulties. Okay, here we are. All right, so I am Mr. Atkins, and I'm your U.S. history teacher, and I'm going to be your tour guide on this U.S. history journey. I'm currently this year teaching 6th and 7th grade, that you probably already know. And I just want to give you just a little bit about me before we get into everything that's going on this year and about this class. So I've been teaching at Baldwin since about 2014. I'm a college professor and a CEO of my own company. I love to work out, and I love reading books. But most importantly, my email address, which is atkinst@duvalschools.org. And since I'm a traveling teacher, I strongly encourage you, please, please, please email me. It's the best way to get in contact with me. Now, when it comes to U.S. history, this particular class, we cover so many different topics. So we're going to include everything from the age of exploration, when Europeans first started to explore the New World, all the way past the Civil War. We're going to stop at Reconstruction. So that's hundreds of years of information in a very, very short period of time. And so what I've decided to do, and our department decided to do to ensure that students are progressing well, is we give something called an EOC, which means an end of course exam. So at the end of the year, they get this huge test, and it's a cumulative test. So in other words, we are testing all the different information we've covered throughout the year. Now, this test is worth 30% of their grade. And so what our department has decided to do is not just to throw all this on them at once. We've decided to give something called common assessments. And so common assessments are simply tests that we give on a regular basis to help prepare students for the EOC. It gives us an idea of how well we're doing as teachers and how well students are doing as students, acquiring the information and being able to synthesize the information and using it at will. Now, to help assist in all of this, we decided to incorporate as much technology as possible, right? So I have at least two programs that I like to use. One is called Brain Pop, and another is called Achieve 3000. Now, Achieve 3000 helps ensure that students are getting information at their particular academic level. Now, that's important. Achieve 3000 can be done at home and or at school, and I encourage you as parents and as caretakers, as guardians, to please do these assignments with your students. And some of the assignments are really, really, really interesting. Brain Pop is just an interactive, fun way to gather information. So speaking of that, how do you turn work in? So this year is a little different from other years, right? So if you're on teams and students are on teams when they're not actually face-to-face, then what I ask students to do is I ask students to turn it in using two different methods. I post everything on Focus, and students can simply download the information from Focus, and then they can type in the information and email it back to me. Or the second way is they can just hand in their completed work. Now, when they hand their completed work in, what we do is we have CUME folders in every class. So they don't actually hand it to me. They put it in their CUME folders and just let me know, hey, Mr. Atkins, I completed my work. It's in my CUME folder. I, in turn, check the CUME folders daily at the end of every class period or at the beginning of every class period. It depends on what lesson is being taught that day. So once students have the information saved to their computers, they simply can upload their work to Focus, or they can just email it to me. I've provided all the students with directions on how to do this throughout our classes already. Now, if you're a brick and mortar student, a BAM student, that means a face-to-face student, it's really simple. You just drop it in your folders, right? Students just drop their work in their folders and they let me know. I really like the CUME folders because it's, in my opinion, it's a safety net. For whatever reason, if I've been rushing and a student says, hey, I turned my work in, but I don't see it on Focus, we can always revert back to their CUME folders, find the work, and then correct the problem. Simple, simple, simple. And then students can also turn it in on Focus. Now, that's a new feature that I'm doing this year as well. Now, the best way, as I mentioned before, to get in contact with me will be through email. Again, my email is atkinst@duvalschools.org. Now, the reason for that is I'm in a different classroom every class period. So if you were trying to call me, it would be a little difficult. So what I also try to do, since the only way that you really can contact me is using my email, is I try to check the email from 6:30 a.m. every day to 3 o'clock p.m. every day. And that's every school day, Monday through Friday. When you email me, I ask you, please include your student's first and last name and also the class period that they have, my particular U.S. history class. So tutoring. I want to do tutoring in using two different ways. And the reason for that is I'm seeing students two different ways. I see students face-to-face, that's one way, and then we see students online, that's another way. So I have two different versions of this. So for online students, they can contact me and I can meet with them either before school or after school because it's online. And the way I would develop that is once students or parents, once you all start to contact me, I will try my best to see if I can get everyone to be on the same schedule, and then we can set 1 or 2 days that meets most people's schedule, and then we'll conduct tutoring that way. Now for face-to-face students, I'm only doing in the morning. And the reason for that is we haven't started an activity bus yet. An activities bus is a bus that usually takes students home around 5 o'clock or so after school. And so since we haven't started that bus, then we run into the issue of making sure that students have a ride to get home, and that could be kind of cumbersome. So I would like to stay before school from 6:30 to 7 a.m. We could tutor that way, and then we just roll right into the school day. Again, we'll make those arrangements as far as what specific days throughout the week that will occur once I start getting people requesting tutoring. My grading is very straightforward. It's just the same thing stated on the syllabus. So 100 to 90 is an A, 89 to 80 is a B, et cetera, et cetera. Now, homework, classwork, quizzes, and assessments are worth different points. And the reason for that is the amount of rigor that goes into each one of those categories is a little different, right? So a homework assignment could literally be 1 question, maybe 2. And in addition to that, I ask students to please use their parents as resources for their homework assignment. So homework assignment may not be the best indicator for me as to whether a student has really mastered that task, right? Especially if I'm asking them to ask their parents to help them. However, an assessment, right, is a little bit more rigorous. There's going to be more questions. They don't have any reference material, and they had to memorize things. There's usually different type of questions, so you may have short essays, choice, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to give me a great indicator as to how well that student mastered the content that was given. And so that's why the assessments are worth a little bit more. Makeup work. So for every 1 day that a student is absent, the student has that same amount of time to make their work up. Fortunately, everything is on focus as well. So just because you aren't here that particular day in school doesn't mean you don't have access to the material. However, conversely, for every day that the student is late, the assignment, is not turned in on time, then there will be a 10% reduction in grade. Now, the reason that I like doing this is because I want students to understand that punctuality actually counts for something, right? My job, and this is my opinion, is to help prepare them to be the best person they can be, the best citizen they can be, the most productive they can be. And once they get a job, there'll be consequences for not being on time, not having your work in on time, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to prepare them for as much of life as possible now. And again, teams. So students must complete their attendance in the general channel on the attendance tab in Teams before every meeting. Now that's really important. Now they'll use their live class channel to actually attend the class, and I do send out invites for that to occur, but they must complete the attendance before that class. Okay, please do not use Teams to discuss your individual grades or assignments. Everybody can see them. So if you have a question about your individual grades or assignments, please email me. It's much more private. All right, and so that's it. I appreciate you all. I hope you guys had an interesting day and watching this video, and I look forward to us having an awesome sauce year. If you guys have any questions, please email me. Thank you so very much, and have a great day.